Hello everyone and welcome to Werven's World and welcome to my additions to the introduction to Horatio. Horatio was the first race I made an introduction for, and I did so when the game was still in beta. Now the game has changed quite a bit since then, and I thought I would make a video detailing what has changed as well as mentioning some additional things I thought might be important. So without further ado, let's get started. So one thing that changed is the Horatio themselves. If we go to planets with Horatio, you can see that now they give +2 happiness on hot and +3 food. So they got kind of buffed with regards to the beta, because in my previous video I showed that they only get +2 happiness, but now they get +2 happiness only on hot planets and +3 food, so they're definitely a bit better. The technology tree has actually changed quite a bit from beta, so I thought I would go over the changes. So first of all, we have genetic recoding that gives us genetic alteration lab. Now this one was also in my video in the beta version. It allows you to change your populations into Horatio, which actually gets quite strong because your Horatio will amass massive bonuses, so turning them other populations into Horatio will be quite good. The only change that this has gotten is that it used to be over here in the technology tree and now it got a little icon, so that's quite nice. But let's go over the more profound changes. So here we have this one, organic purity, which gives us +40 defense and +4 food per population on planets. Normally for other faction it only gives you +4 food. So what does this defense mean? Well, if we look here, you can see that at the moment we have 200 out of 200 defense. When you're being sieged, this decreases. However, the Horatio keep reinforcing this by quite a bit every turn. So sieging them is a bit harder as it doesn't cost you manpower every turn, as you will be replenishing it through that ability. So then we can go into this one, which still eludes me a little bit. Basically, this is exactly the same as other factions and this is exactly the same as other factions. So I'm not entirely sure what changed here, but if you have an idea, please let me know and I will put it in the description, because unfortunately YouTube no longer has the option to annotate videos, so I cannot put it in the video directly anymore, unfortunately. Then we have this one here. Normally this ATAC systems would give you +5 happiness on planets, but for the Horatio it gives you +5 on hot as well. So this, together with the innate ability of Horatio to have +2 happiness on hot, really tells you that, well, hot planets are kind of the thing to go for with them. Then we also have compact warp methods, and this gives us the skyward dwellings, which other factions also have access to, but with other factions it's only giving population slots on sterile planets, but for us it also gives it on any other planet. So this is quite nice, especially because the Horatio have such strong populations. Having more of them is always good. Then we have this one here, Robotics, and that changes this one. This is normally +5 happiness per luxury resource deposit and we get +10 happiness. So you can see that the Horatio basically don't tend to have happiness problems that much. In my previous video I was also debating whether it was worth to have this Toys for Boys, because it gives you extra happiness but it decreases your science. Now this is actually definitely worth it, because what I didn't know then yet was that there's also such a thing as empire-wide happiness. So as you can see here, at the moment we're content, so we don't get any food and we don't get any influence. However, we also don't get any extra dust or science. So if we pass this law, which doesn't cost us anything, we get +20 happiness and -10% science. So let's say we pass it. Now everyone here is happy and we get +10% food and +10% influence, but also my empire is happy, so I get +15% dust and +15% science. So I got a -10 science, and now I basically, so I have a +5% science and then all the dust and influence and food. So at that point I didn't really know that this empire approval existed yet, so definitely worth to pass the Toys for Boys directly on turn 1 at the moment. One thing that's completely useless, but I still find it worth mentioning, is if you look at this guy, look at how angry he gets when I point my mouse at him. And let's try again. Ugh. One thing I didn't touch upon in my video of the beta was the explorer ships that you start with, which actually start with 2 probe stocks. So that gives you 4 probes at the start on one ship. So that means that you can basically go to a system, automatically explore practically all the anomalies unless there's a lot of them, and then you can go towards the other system, and while you're flying there you can already restock up on some probes. So this is quite nice. Alright, these were all the changes that I wanted to talk about, so I hope you found it useful, and remember...
Make Horatio great again.